Yeah, we are back again with another brain teaser. Let me display it on the screen for everyone to see, okay? Here's what we are doing tonight. Today, we are looking for three differences from this particular image you can see on your screen, all right? You know how we do it, right? You just have to chill and pay closer attention. You'll be able to find the three differences even without hesitation, okay? All you have to do is to endeavor to spend little time with us so that you'll be able to find the three differences. It's not that difficult at all, okay? So without wasting much of our time, I'll urge us to proceed immediately, okay? But before proceed, if you're joining us for the first time, please do well to subscribe. Also, double tap on the screen to give a like and share the stream with family, friends, neighbors, and whoever you're close with. Share the stream with them. Challenge them just to see how fast they will be able to find the number. You understand? Let's get it started already. All right. There we go, guys. Double tap on the screen if you haven't liked the stream already. Double tap. We are live tonight. Invite friends and family so that they can join us. Go ahead, guys. Participate. All you got to do is to spot three differences and you are done. If you invite a friend, it will be more fun because there will be a competition between two of you to see how fast you'll be able to find the number. Sorry, the differences. So go ahead and participate. Let's go. Double tap on the screen, guys, to give a like. If you're joining us for the first time, please do well to subscribe. A big shout out to you all. Also, comment down below where you are watching from. You guys, you all are welcome. A big shout out to every one of you. Guys, it will be fair if we know where we are watching from. If you're watching from Europe, go ahead, comment Europe. If you're watching from America, comment America. If you're watching from Asia, comment Asia. If you're watching from Africa, comment Africa. A big shout out to every one of you. One love to you all. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lucy Delgado. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead, guys, drop a comment and get a shout out immediately. Let's go. Yo, guys, a big shout out to every one of you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Guys, do well to double tap on the screen to give a like. Double tap on the screen, guys, to give a like. And if you're joining us for the first time, please subscribe. Don't forget to invite families and friends. Let them also participate in the challenge. Let's go. Okay, guys, spare us some seconds and let us know what you think about the game, the stream. Is it very easy? Is it hard? Or we should go ahead and make it more challenging? Which one do you think? If it's easy, pick easy. If it's hard, pick hard. And if your choice is for us to make it more challenging, go ahead and pick that one, because we are going to follow the highest count for the vote. Okay, with that being said, a big shout out to every one of you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jolie. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Erica. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Sherry Tam. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ana Maria Torres. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ped. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Marta Oliveira. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Barabara. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jessica. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to I Play Brawl Stars. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Francisco Duran. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Irene Alessio Babi. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Kayla Sarah. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Mumala Coast. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Magalitum. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Blanca. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Wallison. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Damian Alex. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Sebastina Kakun. Thanks for joining us tonight. A very big shout out to every one of you. We appreciate you all. Go ahead and participate. Yo, thank you guys. A big shout out to you all. You all are highly welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Kelly Sanabari. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Henry Villodas. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Anna Carolina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Kiara Chahuara. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Hugi Pal. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Amasito Lopez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Cube King 26. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Paula Alejo. Thanks for joining us tonight. A big shout out to every one of you. We appreciate you all. Shout out to Darion Gabriel. Thanks for joining us tonight. And he gave a hint. I'll just go ahead and read the hints. He said, one is the lamp, another is the leaves near the window, which has a blue one, and another of a leaf on the ground. Thank you so much. That's a good hint from Darion Gabriel. We appreciate you. I believe a lot of people will make good use of it. Let's go. Shout out to Elvina. Thanks for joining us tonight. A brick is missing from the blue lamp. That's also a good hint. Thank you, Evelina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Emily Arlett. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Yusef Hanaim. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Robin Ross. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Yolanda Parada. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Remy King Side. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fernandez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Also, shout out to Ana Sarah Santos da Silva. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Samantha Obina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Yolanda. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alexander Pretz. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Aura Cisneros. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Angelita. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate every one of you. You all are highly welcome, guys. Okay, guys, spare some seconds to answer the question. Okay, where are you guys watching from? Are you watching from America, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe? Wherever you're watching from, go ahead and cast your votes. Okay, a big shout out to you all. I'ma just go ahead and give a shout out to some few people. Shout out to Maria, thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Juliet, thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Isabel Molina, thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jalberto, thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Luis Valquez, thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Islam, shout out to Eminoza, shout out to Claire Flood, shout out to Jessica Peck, shout out to Alejandro Gomez. A big shout out to you all. Shout out to Sienna, thanks for joining us tonight. You all are highly appreciated. Keep your comments coming and get a shout out immediately. Let's go. Shout out to Vania Crystal. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, we have a long comment right here from Xbox Waterfest. Alright. He gave a hint. You guys, shout out to Monica. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to James Donin. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Tiago Torres. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Quenta. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jalbato. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ronald Geisha. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Mr. Edward PJ. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to John Snow. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Renata Vidal. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Raul Martinez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Sienna. Shout out to Noaf. Shout out to Ahmed Va FG. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Vic Roblox. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Judith Contrera. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Guselanjo. A big shout out to you all. Shout out to Darcy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Mary. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jamie. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lose Me. Shout out to Slay. Shout out to Georgie Pavliashi. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Priscilla. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Renata. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jehado. Okay, Jehad067. Thanks for joining us tonight. A big shout out to every one of you. We appreciate you all. Shout out to Eliani Paixao. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Kitty. Shout out to Ohio Kitty. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Diago Plays. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Noobzilla. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to United Asphalt. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Areli. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Asme Baka. Thanks for joining us tonight. A big shout out to every one of you. We appreciate you all. Shout out to Candelaria Martin Nicholas. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Diana Salarza. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Bo. Shout out to Boalam Ismail. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Asme Bak. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Sophia Noem. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Rob Martinez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to the More Money Card. Happy. Thanks for joining us tonight. A big shout out to you all. Go ahead, guys, double tap on the screen to give a like. We appreciate every one of you. Shout out to Joshua Game. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fanny. Shout out to Steven Perez. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. Shout out to Emily Zato. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alice Pedroso. Thanks for joining us tonight. Also, shout out to Alton. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ella the Fella. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jess Santos. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fernando Ochante. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Marco. Thanks for joining us tonight. Okay, people, what do you think about the stream? Is it too easy? Is it too tough? Is it too simple? Or you have no idea about what's going on? Just let us know. You can also drop a comment and get a shout out immediately. Is the stream too easy, too simple, too tough, or you got no ideas? Let us know what you think, guys. A big shout out to every one of you. Thanks for participating and thanks for joining us tonight. I might just go ahead and shout out to some people one more time. Shout out to Paulo. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Subhan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jennifer. Cecilia Solis. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alizon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Gileon Edits. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Angela Medina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Leiche Ibrahim. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alex Blandon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Camilo Ramirez. Okay. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fatima Abelin Moss. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Edgar Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Isabel Hernandez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Soy Cook. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Soldad Pereira. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Aisha Azza. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Legia Lopez. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Logic. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to every one of you. Shout out to Santiago Pereira. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Oliveira Lima. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Hita Cohen. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fabiana. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Aquak. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jonathan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lucas Guzman. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Eka Mendoza. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Santiago Pereira. Hi. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Soy Demi Mocha. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Austin777. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Aeon Oratia. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Teresa Sakala. Right? Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Shana Jefferson. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Shelly Wiatkowski. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Luciana Acabral. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alexander Blandon. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Grayson. Thanks for joining us tonight. D13 Go. See ya. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Triple NSB B. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lydia Mercedes. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Karabo Sambo. A big shout out to you. Shout out to Andrew. You're welcome. Shout out to Lino. Thanks for joining us. Shout out to Venede Gasses. Thanks for joining us tonight. You guys, you all are super amazing. Shout out to Pasquala Montero. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Meluk Atia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Rose Selvis Parabavoy. Thanks for joining us tonight. You all, we appreciate every one of you. Shout out to Camila Valencia. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to It's Josie. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Michael Wadi. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Gabriela Arjo. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Adriana Castro. A big shout out to you. Shout out to Alexandra Amarik. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Shelly Zakhan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Monique King. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to It's Me, Crystal. I did it. Congratulations and thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Laurent Carolina. Wow. Hello, how you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Alice Davis. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us tonight and tuning in to our live stream. Shout out to Sania Ferros. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Carla Ochoa. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Malpa Love. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Meme Sense 000. Alright, let me go ahead and read your comment. I think you like that. The difference is the lamp color, right? They stand for the lamp and the leaf from left side down from the bench. Wow, such an awesome observation. Thank you, Memsen000. That was a good observation. You could be right. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to El Duba Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ajay Anand. Thank you for joining us tonight. What's up to you too? Hope you're good over there. Shout out to Pebble. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, shout out to Daniel Martino. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Opolo Man. Hello. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Pooja Uhia. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Nightmare SAS. Hope I don't dream bad dream tonight. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. You said, on the leaf are the tree and flower pod. All right, good observation from Nightmare. That's a great one. It could be a hint to someone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jacqueline Hudson. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Weston. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lonigram. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Monique King one more time. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to SLM. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Shout out to Tyler Tun. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jose Ezina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Fatin Fisherman. Wow, such an awesome name. Thanks for joining us tonight. A very big shout out to every one of you. We appreciate you all. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Go ahead, guys. Double tap on the screen to give a like. Also, share the stream with families and friends so that they can equally participate. Just put someone on, yes, to see how fast they will be able to spot all three defenses, just like you did. All right, let's go. All right, all right, all right, all right. Go ahead, guys. Let's know the one you're going for and the one we should do next. Alright. Do you want a hint or a new question? Your vote will determine the one we are going to do next, whether a hint or a new question. So go ahead, guys, and pick wisely. Okay. Let's know if you want a hint or a new question. Which which one would you prefer? Okay, we have few more seconds, like 5 more seconds to go to determine which one we are going to do next, whether to throw a hint or to give a new question. A big shout out to you all. We appreciate every one of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Kevin Gamer. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Ezra Clark. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jefferson. Thanks for joining us tonight. A very big shout out to every one of you. Go ahead, guys. Drop a comment and get a shout out immediately. Shout out to Kalma Kamal. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Andre Sangel. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Chelsea. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to every one of you. You all are highly super amazing. We appreciate you all. Shout out to Jennifer Luis Castillo. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Jumbo. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Dorothy. Shout out to Dorothy. Thanks for joining us tonight. We appreciate you all. Yo, what up, guys? A very big shout out to you all. You all are highly welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead, guys. Double tap on the screen to give a like. Don't forget to share the stream with families and friends so that they can equally participate. Also, if you need a hint, comment hint in the comment section and I will give you a hint immediately. Let's go. All right, guys. Come on. Let's know where you're watching from. Are you watching from Europe, from America, from Asia, or from Africa? Wherever you're watching or joining us from, go ahead and cast your votes. There we go, guys. Drop a comment and get a shout out immediately. Shout out to Bryce so much. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Raki Cobra Gadi. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Brianna Valentina. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Joseph Davies. Thanks for joining us tonight. A big shout out to every one of you. Go ahead, double tap on the screen to give a like. Shout out to Siron Dutre. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yo, people. How many differences have you seen so far, guys? How many differences have you seen? Is it three? Is it two? Is it one? Or you need help? If you need help, pick help me so that we can give you a hint. Well, the highest number is actually what we're going to follow. Okay, we have a lot of people picking number three, which means it's a bit easy for 80% of you. All right. I thought this would be difficult, but so many people have seen three differences. That's awesome. A big shout out to you all. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us tonight. Please double tap on the screen to give a like. Also, don't forget to share the stream with families and friends so that they can equally participate. Let's go. All right, people, let's go. What do you think about this? Is it difficult or is it easy? Probably we shouldn't ask you which one is your choice. Okay, if it's too difficult, probably needing hints, comment hints. If it's easy, thumbs up right now. A big shout out to every one of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yo, what up, guys? Let's know what you think about. Remove the word game and replace it with work out. Then the caption will now be work out your brain. Then where you go to spot three changes. Remove that nonsense and write spot three differences. Ensure you design the entire caption to be very bold, beautiful, and attractive. Now, down to the image. I want you to use different image entirely and use a plain background such as white, and the image you are going to be creating, let it look nice. It's three different real, guys, a big shout out to every one of you. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Shout out to Isabella Granados. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Dragon Fan. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Angel Maza. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Aljandra Alvila Alberto. Thank you for joining us tonight. Go ahead, guys, double tap on the screen to give a like. Go ahead, please double tap on the screen to give a like. Also, if you are not yet a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. Also, share the stream with a friend, a family member, a cousin, anyone around you, just to see how fast they would be able to spot the differences. Let's go. Okay, guys, shout out to you all. Just in case you need a hint, go ahead and comment hints in the comment section, and you will get a hint on how to go ahead and find three differences from these images. Let's go. big shout out to you all. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Lomod89. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Veronica. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Victor Marquez. A big shout out to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Isabella. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to everyone. Okay, we appreciate you all. We are so happy to have you all tonight. Go ahead, please double tap on the screen to like the stream, and also don't forget to subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. Turn on your post notification so that whenever we go live, YouTube will notify you immediately. Let's get it going. Okay, guys, what do you think? Okay, guys, what do you think about the question? I mean, the task. Is it awesome or tough, or probably you should just leave it alone? If it's tough, go ahead, comment hints so that we'll give you a hint immediately. Comment hints if you think this is tough. Okay, so many people said it's awesome. That means it's not that tough. Thank you, guys. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Go ahead, double tap on the screen to give a like. Let's go. All right. Let's know where you are watching from America, or from Africa, or from Europe, or from Asia. Hi, shout out to friends and families from America. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to friends and families from Africa. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to friends and families from Europe. Thanks for joining us tonight. Also, shout out to friends and families from Asia. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead and participate. Love you all. Let's go. Okay, guys, let us know which object do you think is hiding a difference. Okay, which object do you think is hiding a difference? Is it a chair? Is it a light? Is it a window? Or I should probably wait a minute for you to check. Okay, let me read it one more time. Which object do you think is hiding a difference? Is it chair? Is it light? Is it window? Or should I wait a minute for you to check? Okay, we got a lot of people choosing wait a minute to check. All right, go ahead, guys, and check. I'm waiting. Thank you. Okay, guys, who has found all the differences? Is it you, your friend, or you're not yet done? Let us know in the comments if you found all differences. Okay, shout out to you all. Thanks for participating. I appreciate every one of you. Shout out to Damian Xavier. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Shout out to Alan Mitchell. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Shout out to Augustina Perez. Thanks for joining us tonight. to Hillary. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Big shout out to every one of you. Yo, a big shout out to every one of you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. You're all highly welcome. Shout out to Jocelyn Flores. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Maria Evelyn. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am good and I hope you are fine as well. Thanks for your immune contribution. We appreciate every one of you. Shout out to Manjit Kaur. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hello, Maria, Evelyn. My name is New Life, just like the channel implies. That's my name. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, guys, just in case you need a hint on how to find any of the differences, comment hint in the comment section. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You all are highly welcome. Double tap on the screen to give a like. Shout out to Dana. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Peggy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Destiny Richards. Thank you for joining us tonight. Go ahead, guys. Drop a comment to get a shout out immediately. And if you are joining us for the first time, please subscribe, turn on the post notification bell so that whenever we go active like this, YouTube will notify you to join us immediately as possible. Okay, just in case you need a hint, go ahead and comment hints. Write hints in the comment section, and I will give you all the hints immediately. Double tap on the screen, guys, to give a like. Okay, guys, let us know how many differences have you spotted so far. Okay, how many differences have you seen? Is it one? Is it two? Or is it three? Comment down below how many differences you have seen so far. Yeah, we have a lot of people picking number one. Oh, wow. That means few people have seen two or three differences. 90% of you all have seen just one differences. Okay, I guess you all need a hint. If you need a hint, comment hint in the comment section. Let's go. Okay, guys. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. If you want a hint, comment hint, then I'll give you a hint immediately. Okay, guys, a big shout out to every one of you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Just in case you are not able to find the answer or spot, just in case you are not able to spot any differences, go ahead and drop a comment so that you will be able to receive the hint to spot a few differences at least. Remember, we have just one task, and that is to spot three differences. Okay, so go ahead, guys, and participate. Spot three differences. There we go. Yo, what up, guys? Thank you for staying with us. Shout out to Miriam Pereira. Thanks for joining us tonight. Shout out to Eduardo. Thank you for joining us tonight. Shout out to Guadalupe Diaz. Thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead, drop a comment and get a shout out immediately. Also, don't forget to double tap on the screen to give a like. Also, you can share the stream with families and friends. Put them on to see how fast they will be able to find the differences. Let's go. Okay, guys, just in case you were not able to spot the differences, please do well to watch the restream of the video with the hints I'm about to give to you all so that everyone would be able to spot the differences. Okay, just stay tuned. All right, because we are about to switch the questions, so the only way for you to find out if we drop the hint is by subscribing and also turning on your post notification, because YouTube would always notify you whenever we go live. All right, with that being said, a big shout out to every one of you. Thank you for staying with us tonight. We are about to go off for now and refresh the questions. All right, so bye for now and see you all in the next stream. Thank you so much.